Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and today we're looking at a game called Disoriented. According to Steam, this came out in 2016. Unfortunately, with such a generic name as Disoriented, I can't really go on Wikipedia and look up any information about the developers or anything about the game, really. Not easily, at least. I could probably waste an hour for a game that might not even take an hour to play. Uh, it is made by a company called Brick Cream, and that's the only thing on Steam that they've ever made. So it looks like, at least in the menus here, that there isn't really any keyboard control per se without the mouse. And when you look at the main options here, we have a very standard WASD option, with C going to a checkpoint and T being switch camera. Now, since this is an orientation puzzle game, by the looks of it, you do run into the dangers of length and just game polish in something like this, because this could very well be an hour's worth of gameplay that's done very poorly, or this could be several hours worth of gameplay and you just won't ever really know until you play it. And it could have only one standard gameplay mechanic, which so far it seems like there's blue crystals and yellow cubes, and that's about it. Let's hop into the game and get a general idea. Alright, I was not expecting that. Alright, so we have exactly 30 levels to deal with in a very mobile phone select your stage type menu. And oddly, it is straight up just controlling via the mouse with a circular reticle so you don't get too disoriented. There is something weird happening here, though, with this perspective. When I look over to the left, it seems like the camera is zooming in. When I look to the right, it seems like it's zooming out. But yeah, it's not going to be really too much here, frankly. There's not too much to mess with here. Here we have a well, which I left clicked it on. Let's see what the tab button does. Well, that is a nice feature, but I don't know if there's really a gameplay element there, and right click and left click don't seem to do anything else more to that. So it does seem like you are just going to run into some checkpoints. So is this a case that you cannot walk through this door? Well, that seems like I finished the level without doing everything. Interesting. And we have a green. And we have a yellow as cubes, as little fountains. And I guess at a certain point, the question will come down to, is this changing a bigger aspect to the world? Or is this really just some simplistic things that, even in 2016, really could have just been asset flipped? I guess the only thing here that is slightly challenging is keeping an eye on whether there's a curve in the wall versus a flat in the wall. And see, it kind of looks like if you were to walk off the edge here, you would be fine. I feel like the white background here is a mistake visually. You should probably have something different, or you should have the platforms you're walking on stand out and not be white. Which, yeah, if you didn't just go at the lowest, cheapest effort, you would potentially just buy a texture of something, a stone wall texture to make this look like you're walking on, say, a medieval style place. It also feels like you can fairly easily just fall off the edge, which, I mean, that doesn't feel like much of a gameplay mechanic that people would want, as much as it feels like it would just be something that would terrify a lot of people with vertigo. Unfortunately, you're not really tapping into that, if that is your idea here, very well, because once again, the white sky does not really give off the feeling that you're going to fall to your death. If anything, if it gives off the feeling that I'm just going to fall and then respawn. And you know what, I should just test this. Just see what happens. Yeah, you just fall and respawn. So, like, as long as you have even the basic understanding of how to walk around a 3D environment with a mouse pointing you in a specific direction and the WASD keys, are perfectly fine. We might be getting to a point at this where it is a little bit more difficult to figure out where I'm supposed to be going. And when you zoom out your camera, it feels like there should be a shadow of a person that you can see, like something to better orient your character. I may have just jumped to a place I wasn't supposed to jump. Well, let's see if we can get this to work. So, yeah, you gotta orient yourself correctly. Let's see what C does. It sets a checkpoint. Well, that's useless. So then I have to escape and restart. And it seems like these colors are randomized. So it doesn't feel like there's really a gameplay element to that. Maybe you had to go one specific direction and I went the other specific orientation. That seems like that very well might have been the case. I don't think I'm supposed to drop down there. So far, all we've really seen is a lot of instances of look for the curved part and walk on the curved part. And that one seems like that's a different thing. But we're not getting any kind of enemies or turrets or any reason to need to speed up anything. So we know that spins the worlds or parts of the worlds around, which is good because you practically have no interaction with the game at all up until this point. So this is just all about dropping down here and then we gotta figure out the way we want to do this to drop down where we want to go. Definitely feels like there could be a bit more help to make sure you're jumping from the specific spot. A little bit of game polish there where if there was a texture you could have had something on the ground to use as a marker. I'm always looking for more games that look like this, but in all actuality, there's more that needs to be done with games like this a lot of times. Like to actually make it a game and not just have it be a collection of simplistic, almost like demos of a game or demos of a concept, not even a whole game. And with the ever increasing rise of low effort asset flip games where people just buy pre-made elements from a Unity store or an Unreal store or some store like that, this definitely does feel more like an asset flip than something that is a unique, complete product, because we've gotten no backstory whatsoever, and we've gotten no characterization of our player whatsoever. We've gotten one interactive thing that seems to do absolutely nothing. There needed to be some fanfare and some celebration of our actions if that was what they were going to have us try and do, is focus on clicking on these little fountains. There's a game that came out slightly more recently, actually, just like a few days as of this recording, from when I recorded this, and it has a kind of, I wouldn't fully call her an anime girl, but a little girl who is animated that is wandering around trying to do similar puzzles in a similar world to this. And while that game is reviewed kind of poorly for the fact that it seems to be kind of not well polished or well designed, it at the very least seems to have a concept behind it and an actual character that you're playing as. And I've certainly seen plenty of smartphone games that feel a lot like this too. There I just got an achievement. So this may very well be an achievement game, which is games on Steam for one reason or another had a tendency, and still have a tendency, to sell a little bit better if they're very easy to get achievements for. Steam doesn't even really reward you unless you get 100% of the achievements, so there's this element of achievement games that are... Can I click this from a long distance? There's an element of achievement games that are easy to get all 100% of the achievements. There's an element of achievement games that have only one achievement, so that is the case. And then there's an element of achievement games that aren't as easy to get all of the individual achievements, but then they give you a lot of achievements, and that seems to make people happy too. Whereas personally, I was obsessed with achievements for the Xbox 360 when they first came out, and when I was playing games on the Xbox 360. By the time I had moved over to being more of a PC gamer, there was no longer any desire in my mind to try and do ridiculous things to get achievements. At least not a significantly large amount of desire. I still, on occasion, will try to 100% a game on Steam if it's easy, if it's just going to take another 6 minutes or so of time. But if it's another hour of gameplay on a game I'm done with, there's nothing there, I think, that would convince me to spend that extra time. I feel like this one has spiked up in difficulty, which would be great and all, except for the fact that I don't think we have enough time to expand upon this. I think we're gonna fairly quickly just run through the entire game. And if I was using to change the camera angles aspect, I probably could accomplish this faster. Alright, that wouldn't do anything. That wouldn't really do anything. Feels like it has to be that, doesn't it? Yeah. I must have just never had it in that position, or missed something visually. There might be a key to run, and that might be helpful, but also it's probably not going to need to run in a game like this. And I would say when you have games like this that go in this direction, you have to at some point implement either a time system or a score system. You've got to figure out how can you stretch this out and make this feel like a real finalized product and not just what it feels like, which is something that you hope you only spent 69 cents on versus $5, which in all fairness I may very well have put this on purchase this for like $2 or $3 when so far it doesn't feel like you're really going to get that level of entertainment. Here's something different. See, now that is better. So if they had this, then once they had this, they should have realized in their testing of their game that the bright sunlight doesn't make sense, and that there needs to be a swap of this to more of a skybox with like a sunny sky with the sun and clouds and like a blue sky, or they needed perhaps a bright moon versus a dark moon. See, like, yeah, it could have been something like this the whole time. But I so far would just say this feels very basic. I literally walked upon each of these light switches and switched them once. There was no puzzle there at all. Like, as soon as I saw one, I hit the light switch. That made the path to allow me to go to the next area. Then I find another switch, and then I hit it, and then that makes the path to the next area. And then I walk that direction, and then effectively I'm just walking in a straight line at this point. If I jump down there, I don't think I accomplish anything. I think I'm supposed to jump down here. And that was a switch that I reached, and so the only puzzle we've run into at all has just been, did I find where I needed to go? And perhaps in this system, since it is just a toggle on and off, perhaps the idea was that I was going to have to walk in circles to get to this point, to come over here, hit that switch, and get over here and do that. But certainly 20 minutes in, and very possibly halfway through the entirety of the whole game. It's a lot of repetition here. Now would be the time to introduce an annoying bee that would fly around and buzz you or distract you, or some kind of voice log or even text log. I've been reading a lot in games lately, and even at that, and being slightly burned out from that, from doing that. Finding a 2 or 3 paragraph text log here would not be a bad idea. I guess that's the right direction. Yeah. I guess I'm not supposed to jump down there. You could really have done something crazy with this, with just having a bunch of like spray paint all over the world. There was a game with spray paint that came out about a year ago. I don't know if it had too much to do with puzzle platforming, but I think it actually did have a little bit to do with that. But with this white surface, it just screams that it needs something to happen here. Even if it's like just it leaving footprints wherever you stand. That way you can use that as an element to actually see where you've been. That would be interesting. It would be something different. Even the sound effects and music in the background as they're softly playing, there's nothing wrong with the music, but it's not imparting any knowledge to me. It's very hard for a video game critic to have anything to say positive in general, but it's really hard for a video game critic to have something positive to say if the entirety of your game is so just absolutely simplistic. I feel like I may have missed something here. Because I feel like I'm just walking backwards now. So yeah, it's not gonna work. Yeah, there's been no previous instance where we've needed to walk backwards. And if you could just make a good leap towards the door, probably could just make the jump. Let's see. Where is the door? It's over there, upside down. So that's not gonna work. But yeah, that feels like there should be a shadow of a person when you zoom out. Must have needed to flick this way. That way this path was open where it wasn't before. Which, man, I am having trouble keeping in orientation where the door is. It's over there, it's upside down again. So is there a way to reach that? I feel like if I jump down there, I should have checkpointed before I did that, but whatever. Yeah, I feel like now I can do this and do this. No, that just put me back where I already was. So there's something more here. Something that I'm missing. Perhaps at that point. How can we get over there? See the sound effects of the water sections. I don't think they help anything. I think they're just there kind of as an annoyance, way of changing things up. Okay. The door's over there. Is there a way for me to jump down and reach the right place? Or am I gonna reach the wrong place? I think we go here first and foremost. And I don't think that's the place that we should be. And you need to be over there, because that now would work. But we've got to get over there somehow without flipping the light. There's no way that spinning that helps anything. So the game is saving up to its name, at least. It is disorienting me. So I have to applaud it for living up to its name. That's the word I was trying to use. But that's pretty much all I can say about it, frankly. And it's not uncommon for you to run into games that are a lot like this on cell phones and on Steam, particularly when you're looking at the bottom of the barrel type games and you're not looking for like AAA games. It's not uncommon to run into just difficulty spikes or levels that are just not polished or designed correctly, and that there really isn't a reasonable way for you to beat the levels. Okay. I'm gonna jump down here again. And then I'm gonna jump down here again. And then I'm going to walk over here. And I have to walk back over this way. And back over this way. And if I flip this, I can't go back to where I was. So I've either fallen into a location that is just totally wrong, and it's just like I've trapped myself effectively in a puzzle section, or there's something here I'm not seeing. Like, I'm not going to be able to hit that in that location. I feel like if I hit this, I can walk back up here, which still doesn't seem like it lets me do anything. Alright, let's go back and select levels. What I'm not seeing here is any indication that the first level suffered by me not clicking on the puzzle, the one plant. And I assume these are all darkened because we haven't made enough progress. So we're on 11, I guess, of 30. So we're 1/3 of the way done. Of course, can run through this very quickly and see that it does seem to memorize the fact that we haven't clicked all of the plants, which that's interesting, but there's no indication of it, and there is a timer. It's just not a timer that's being shown. And restarting does not undo your progress, oddly enough, with the plants, so those are just permanent achievement things. Alright, try this a second time. See, it seems like you jump down here, and when you jump down here, that's the loop that happens. I'm gonna try something different here to see if there happens or could possibly be something I'm missing. Yeah, at any point it could be that there's a secret passage and they're keeping that hidden, but it also doesn't guarantee that that's actually the case. And yeah, if this was a game in 2016, this is definitely a game that I think a lot of people could play to their satisfaction, or to whatever maximum level of satisfaction they're likely to have. Well, that did something. I don't know what. I'm gonna have to just click this after hitting this out this way. Yeah, I could see. Doesn't seem like anything's changing over there. I could definitely see people playing the game in less than 2 hours and being satisfied enough and then just refunding it for full, no questions asked refund. There's kind of nowhere to go here, so I hit this, I jump down, I get reset. Does that reset the whole world? I mean, doesn't it kind of have to? It reset the day-night cycle. I guess maybe I didn't need to turn off the light, but I guess if I hadn't turned off the light, then I wouldn't have been able to get to this point. Alright. So if this is a spinner, then I guess the question does become, is there some way I can spin this so you would be able to see the bottom half of that? I don't think there is. So you kind of have to go here, kind of have to go here, kind of have to click this because you can't go any further. Alright. So I'd have to get to this point to be able to spin that point, and we have been to that point to spin that point. So that's not something new that we haven't interacted with. It's just I found a different way to interact with it, because yeah, this is here, and when you're standing here you can much easier see what it's doing, which is to have that piece in that orientation, which having it in that orientation does not change, I think, anything. Or you can have it in this orientation, which again, having it in that orientation I don't think changes anything. Or you have it in that orientation, where that is the only orientation where it would change something. Because then you can walk here, and then you can hit that. And then the question is, from where I'm standing, can I jump down somewhere to get that to the door? Let's see. Because I don't think I can jump this way. Well, maybe I can. And then that would let me go up there, and that would let me go up there, and then that would let me go over there and switch the lights and go over there, and none of that helps one bit. Or I could go here, and then that would let me switch the lights. And I mean, we can try it, certainly. I don't think we've tried this. It does just actively feel like there's two jumps that have to be made. And if I can't figure out what the two jumps are, you will just end up in the same place over and over again. Yeah, there's a light switch over there that I could have used to not have this enabled. But that doesn't help anything. There's a rotation piece here. That's what we need. And then it just becomes a question of how do we get there. And maybe it is this. Well, I don't know how that saves us. This? Well, I'll be darned. That seems like that was the solution. Or at least I found a solution. Major difficulty spike there, though. Major difficulty spike. And that did get me another achievement. So probably wouldn't hurt me too much to flick the light switch first and foremost to see what flips. And it is now questionable, certainly, are we going to start to see a lot of difficulty spikes, or is this really just going to be the end of it? Yeah. I don't think I can make that jump. I don't think there's a secret light switch on the back end of this. Nope. That was expecting too much to think I could jump sideways into a door, but I imagine that is exactly what's going to happen at some point. Alright, that probably is part of the solution. So we have rotating platforms and we have light switches as gameplay mechanics, which, okay, that's something. Is it enough things really for a game? Something that you would really call a full and complete experience? I would say no, not really. Go over here. And then we've got another light switch, or the same light switch. And then and you can get over here. You can do that. And I imagine you can even maybe click on the flowers. I guess you can't click on flowers unless you're in the right orientation. I'm not sure if this is resetting me to places I've already been, or if the default solution was just the right solution in that case. Let's see. Perhaps this is a puzzle where you literally just shouldn't change anything. That seems slightly questionable. But yeah, there's something here you should change. If I could shift that, it won't accomplish anything. If I can shift this where I'm standing, it won't accomplish anything. If I could jump somewhere from here, nope, nothing doing there. Jumping down here is where we were, and then that lets us twist a few things, but then you fall and everything resets. Which honestly, it feels like things shouldn't reset, and it feels like there should be probably a more visual depiction of things resetting if it is going to reset. Yeah. See, if there was perhaps a very long-reaching way you could click on that over there, that might work. Feels like there should be a start point marker also. Yeah, this whole part has to be rotated, and I don't see a way how it's going to be rotated. This is the start point. And they should have marked it. And if we hit that, there clearly needs to be something that changes. If I click that twice, then I can come over here and I can walk on this pattern. And that still really doesn't ever accomplish anything. Like, unless there was a really crazy fall. Yeah. So at some point you would potentially like fall to this point and then that would rotate everything. But it can't happen yet. I have to use the things as they are. And if the plants were supposed to be a checkpoint system where you marked where you've been and what you've interacted with, they probably should reset so that you can check off where you've been. Alright, so at this point, if I hit this, and then come back here, and come back here, where's the point where we started? It's like right there, wasn't it? The only place I can fall is over here. And is there something somewhere I can fall over here? I mean, I guess you can. Like, that's not gonna catch anybody. Yeah, that's not gonna catch me. That's not gonna accomplish anything. If I could rotate and make a jump, there might be something to that. I just don't know. I don't know about this game. Doesn't feel like it's giving me not enough breadcrumbs to make me want to keep on playing it. Frankly, I am approaching like the halfway point to just a rage quit. Like the things that would change my opinion at the moment are like, if there was some achievements I saw on there, they caught my eye. The things that look like I could really do, although it's hard to honestly believe that that's the case. This whole thing feels like it's just a poorly designed experience. Like, feels like we've just hit that level where the puzzles actually haven't been tested and there's not really a way to find a solution to it. Unless the idea was, let's see, options, keys, sprint is left shift, C is checkpoint, back, continue. Like, unless the idea was to set a checkpoint, then fall to your death, and potentially have the checkpoints have you respawn somewhere. Yeah, and I just don't think that's the case. I think the checkpoint system cannot be abused or used as a gameplay mechanic in any actual way. There's just kind of nothing here. Like, there's one solution, and then there's one path, and then there's one light switch that you can toggle, which then destroys that one path. I mean, we could try something different. We could not toggle it, and then I could jump down on this side, and then we could twist that 2 times. But what has that really accomplished? Unless the trick was to do this. Yeah, unless that was the trick. There's nothing there. And if you turn this off, we have a long path up that direction. Of which I can't really do anything. I mean, I'll just try everything, I guess. Try it once, but I really am at that point where it's just like, nope, I put an hour into this. I don't see a reason to put another hour into it. Video game criticism wise, doesn't seem like there's much more to say about this. If they were going to introduce kind of a boss or a main challenge or anything like that, their time to do that has expired at this point. There's just not. See, the only thing would be if this somehow unlocks some path that was less obvious. Like, the challenge is only in these orientation puzzles. And this is potentially one of those puzzle systems where maybe it does feel perfectly logical to the creator of the game, but it doesn't actually likely have a chance of feeling logical to anyone else. I mean, I've been playing games for decades, and if I'm getting lost somewhere at that point, I don't blame myself. I blame the creator of the game for not having enough quality assurance testing and not enough people giving input in his game development or their game development. Would going back accomplish anything? No. Is there anywhere else you could fall? Let's see. You can fall over there, and then you can rotate the thing, which won't get you anywhere or accomplish anything. You can't fall anywhere else. When you're at disorientation, you can't fall anywhere else. When you're at this orientation, you can't fall anywhere else. There's a light switch up there that you can't reach. There's nothing over there to fall into. When you're over, when the lights are on, you can't fall there. Let's see. You could fall on the side and rotate things at that point, but it wouldn't help you any. And if you go down this direction, at that point it just puts you in the same problem situation you were in originally. Yeah. Like, I can't directly say that there is no solution to that puzzle, but it sure feels like there's not actually a solution to that puzzle. And I have certainly seen plenty of games that, again, I can't directly say feel are impossible to beat after about a third of their time, but they often feel like they're impossible to beat. I guess we can skip levels? So let's skip levels. I will applaud that. There's nothing wrong with letting a player potentially move forward if they're stuck somewhere. Perhaps we will learn some element that we have not learned yet, and maybe there is a gameplay mechanic that we're totally missing as a concept. Let's see, we can hit that, which that makes the platform there, which then just becomes a matter of figuring out where we want to go and where we want to be. I don't know if there's a difference there. Feels like you might fall off an edge and land onto that. It feels like they're gonna try and make it fairly difficult on you. Well, we can get awfully close. Awfully close. Making a bit of a mess around this. Wish you had a little bit further reach. That is certainly something they could have done, though. Nothing would have stopped them from having a level up scenario where you could reach further and actually make it to the locations you're looking for. Let's see. Yeah, there's no way you're gonna have the correct path with the lights on. I don't even know if there is a path with the lights on. I guess we're gonna have to find out. Also, I think typically I run into the same problem over and over again where I spend too much time on the final episode of a series, and we've been going about an hour, so I feel like probably are going to need to move over to calling this an episode, and we'll make this a 2-episode series. That's as far as this obviously is going to get, though. Oh man, if I could just reach that light switch. That would probably be everything. Can I reach that? No. So I made a path that literally helped me none. Unless there's a light switch somewhere else. Yeah, it feels like the waterfall sound effects should indicate something different. Like this is a location you might consider jumping off of. Something along that lines. Or this is an area you should investigate further. See how this goes. Okay. Either I've done something really crazy here, or I've done this right. I think I've done something really crazy here, which I think is just gonna end up sending me in the wrong direction. If I could just get the orientation right. It's upside down at the current moment. Which, I guess we'll walk back here. Now it's halfway in the right direction. Yeah, this really does just feel like this is just trying to disorient people way too much. And a lot of these puzzles do feel like you would just have to go in circles to see if you can do the thing that you think you can do. I think I have decent spatial orientation, 3D spatial orientation, considering how I play video games. And that is a skill that one tends to develop when they do play video games. But not to this level. Not to the level where you're going to be manipulating the world and then rotating your own position in the world so often that it becomes impossible to keep a map in your head. What I want to do here is see that there literally is nothing to benefit from flipping the light switch. The light switch keeps that one platform in place, and that's it. Yeah, it does just kind of feel like this just happens. Unless you're supposed to do something like this. Nope, that's not the solution. Or maybe it was. No, we've been here before because there's all kinds of clicked areas. Alright, let's see. Let's just skip to the last one. Like, my level of frustration has hit a maximum here, and I don't think that there really is enough here to make me want to continue to play. Here we can see that there at some point was a new mechanic added for these 30 levels, which is a pathetically small amount of levels. Let's just be honest about that. With any luck, we might be able to actually figure out what that mechanic does. I got another achievement for clicking a bunch of the flowers. I'm getting achievements left and right. Just too much. Just too much going on, frankly. It does kind of feel like this final level is the culmination of several puzzles. Okay. What does that accomplish? Now by turning off that part. Okay. Can't click on that. Which now that rotates that. Which 1, 2, okay. So what in the world does this do? It makes you just fall through a teleporter. Alright, fair enough. Like, fair enough, that does seem like that would be a small improvement as far as a gameplay mechanic. And so maybe you fall down here and then it gets you back to where you were. I don't know if you really wanted to be where you were, but whatever. Then this way and this way. And then, yeah, continue that direction. And then this way. You know what I think happens here, though, is I needed to rotate this so that it fell that direction next. So fall down here and then toggle this. Nope. Toggle this. This direction. This direction. Is there any other direction I could have fallen? Nope. Toggle this to go over here. Okay. I believe that's probably part of the solution. over here. Should I go down this way? Should I go down that way? What is rotating? No clue. So I've done it 4 times. Let's do it one more time. But this is a problem, see, because unless you just wildly checkpoint yourself, which in the act of wildly checkpointing yourself, you would destroy the point of the checkpoint system, you're just going to fall to your doom, and then you're going to have to reset the whole thing all over again. Let's take a quick look, just in general, of what this world looks like in the other levels, and that's pretty much, I think, all I want to do. I don't even think I would waste my time trying to get all the achievements for this game, because there's just kind of nothing here, and no reason to really be happy with this experience at all. It's again one of those games that I hope I only spent $1 for. And even at $1, I don't think I'm really getting $1's worth of good entertainment. I'm a fairly cheap gamer as it is, and honestly, if you're gonna leave me with 2/3 of your game, or at least half of your game, oh, there is a rotating, twisting concept there that they clearly couldn't even wrap their own brains around in designing the levels, because that is not used but once or twice. But yeah, look where we are. We've gotten 12 out of 30 puzzles done. I'm already frustrated. I've spent 1 hour and 12 minutes on it. There's nothing here other than trying to get achievements and spending quite a decent amount of time on achievements, and that just really sucks. I definitely have seen other games and covered other games that have this visual aesthetic, this minimalistic visual aesthetic, but it is such a booby trap of getting low effort asset flip games. I wouldn't even really call this game an asset flip game, in the sense that I bet all of these basic shapes probably were just handcrafted by the creator of the game. But you definitely can see nobody's going into Photoshop with a tablet and drawing and coloring in anything here. This is just, hey, let's make a polygon cube, let's make a polygon tree. Very, very basic stuff. I definitely would call this a low effort game, in the fact that there's no story. There's one song that kind of just plays in the background. It's not a terrible song selection. There's only 30 levels. There's no credits even here, from the looks of it. If you do get to see credits, I guess it's after you beat the final level, but I doubt that even happens. This is only a slight single step away from a single screen Unity game, which I've definitely seen a lot of puzzle games that are single screen Unity games where there is no 3D environment, and it is basically like a board game on a tabletop. And even those I've seen way more detailed and polished than this. Now, there is a possibility, had there been a lot of gameplay testing and polish on these levels, and had you been able to just breeze through all of these puzzles, that I would have been a little bit happier with it. But not by much, because I would then be immediately replacing my frustration with the levels being not polished enough with a frustration that there aren't enough levels. And I don't think you really could even benefit so much from having a dozen more levels, or even 100 levels. 100 levels sounds like a good number, but in a lot of games 100 levels is 5 good levels and 95 terrible levels. This is the thing about my favorite game, Portal and Portal 2 as a series. Like, Portal 1 really only has maybe 30 levels in total, but they are big 3D environmental puzzles with a lot of polish to them, a lot of testing to them, and there's an amazing story to fill in any gap when it's a little bit frustrating or a little bit boring, so people can easily flow through the 5 to 10 hour experience of Portal 1. And then they, in Portal 2, added a ton more levels and a ton more things to do. Anyways, I'm going to leave this as a spotlight. I don't see any reason to make a second episode to play Disoriented. It lives up to its name. It does disorient you. It almost certainly would make anybody who suffers motion sickness sick. It almost certainly upset anybody that suffered from vertigo. This feels sick, but it just kind of has nothing else to have happen around it. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. I have a playlist for every game I've ever covered. I'd say check out the Portal playlists or the Talos Principle. A game like the Talos Principle with the 3D world bending effects would be interesting, but again, that's because the Talos Principle has a lot more going for it. Finally, if you want to support me further, you can either click on the link down below to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and give me a game off my wish list or a gift card. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.